I just want to tell you, you are such a fun, adorable, smart, beautiful, alive, delicious person. And I had so much fun being with you yesterday. It was a ball. Honey, I love you, and I wanted you to know that. And I wish I was there right now to get one of your delicious hugs and kisses. And it was, you really helped make the day. I got such a kick out of you. You're a doll, and I love you very much, and I want you to know that always. Okay, sweetheart? Take care. Call when you can. You know I love to hear from you. But if you don't, I know you're busy, and stay well. Okay? I love you, doll. Mwah!
Hi. Welcome back to Not That Deep. I am in a new studio. I have two liquids with me that I don't think you can see, and I have a dream. I'm just kidding. Well, of course, you have to have a dream. I think that it's so important to have two liquids at once because one does not suffice. So right now I have my water with my electrolytes and then I have my coffee. And one of them is keeping me grounded and one of them is keeping me at like level 100. So you can do the math there. I am so happy to be recording today because last week I did not record an episode. I was not feeling well. And I think that I could tell during the week that I wasn't feeling well, just feeling a little bit more run down. I had to nap after work. I don't know if you guys ever feel if you're very in touch with your body, you can kind of tell when it's not feeling 100%. And then once you get those signs, you can decide, okay, do I know why it's not feeling 100% or is it kind of a question mark mystery? And that's usually when it's out of my control and it's something more physical rather than mental or emotional. And so I had a comedy show after work one day. I had to nap before that. I could just tell like the energy wasn't there. And then Friday I went out to dinner with my home friends. And then Saturday I woke up and I did a workout, which maybe was my body giving one last ditch effort. And then I slept for the entire day. And then I slept the entire day on Sunday. And I had a really busy weekend planned. I had an outing with my mentee planned for Saturday. I had a comedy show planned for Saturday. I had dinner with friends that were visiting from out of town on Saturday. And to wake up and my body, I feel like begging me to sit was a sign, and I wanted to listen to it and respect it. So, as much as I missed, people understood, and that's really important. But I just want to remind myself and remind those listening that there is so much value to listening to your body. And as much as you want to do the things that you had planned to do, if your body is asking you not to, sometimes it's very important to listen. And you could be the judge there. If you literally can't keep your eyes open, maybe you should go take a nap. But that's easier said than done if you are just kind of taking care of yourself. Like if you're a parent, maybe that isn't as easy. Or um I don't know. It kind of just made me appreciate the time in my life that I'm in where I can get these cues from my body and also listen to them and do what I need to do better. But hopefully I'll reschedule the comedy show and my mentee understood. And that's the thing. It's if I cannot show up to something as 100% myself, I feel like I'm doing myself a disservice. Like if I had gone out to dinner or if I had done the comedy show, it wouldn't have been me doing it. It would have been like a really sore version of myself. And I think I owed it to myself to not do it. So, anyways, I didn't do the podcast because I didn't feel like it. And that was okay. And that's part of like, this is not my full time job. If it was, maybe I would have mustered ketchup, but ketchup, my sweatshirt is so red today. But I'm really happy that I listened to it. And I'm really happy that now I can record today. And something that I wanted to talk about today is something that just happened yesterday. And that is my grandma Claire passed away. And I am filled with so much gratitude and love that she was in my life for as long as she was. And in reflecting, I'm just so lucky. And I am so emotional over the last month. Over the last 27 years, I am particularly emotional. But my comfortability with crying in public has only increased. And I think it's really valuable to just be able to cry in public and not really care who sees. Because these are just fleeting moments. If you're crying in public on the street and you walk by someone, you're probably never going to see them again. Maybe they're questioning, why is she crying? But maybe they're not. You need to do what's best for you. But I found out yesterday, Grandma Claire, she was the best. She is the pinnacle of the grandma that everyone wanted, everyone deserved, and that I somehow got so lucky to have. And what I'm also grappling with is the fact that she lived an amazing life, an incredible life. She was married to the most amazing man, my grandpa Lenny, who passed about 6 years ago. She traveled. She had 3 kids. She had 6 grandkids. She had so many friends. She made friends everywhere she went. She volunteered her time. She never missed an opportunity to make somebody smile. And she loved with her whole heart. And when it came to the end of her life, she didn't have that pizzazz. And her quality of life was not what it was, but also even surmountable to what she deserved it to be. And old age and illness and immobility attributed to, I would call her downfall, but also just her life. I think also she was very aware that she was ready to go a year before she actually left. And it was frustrating as a grandchild to hear that your grandma wants to die. But how could you not empathize with that? She was recognizing, I don't have a life. What am I doing? I want to die. And we would joke about it because she would jokingly ask for us to smother her with a pillow. And as dark as that is, it just was her. She wanted to be with Lenny and she wanted to be with her parents. And she wanted to spend her time with her kids and her grandkids. But life gets busy and we can't visit every day. And she made the most of what she could. And I visited her as much as I could. I called her weekly, and she was a very strong constant in my life. And I think after somebody passes, if they were a constant in your life, it's understanding how to best move forward without that constant. And I don't want to say I'm having a hard time. It just happened yesterday. Though I felt like I've been grieving her for a couple of months now because she has not been herself. And it's really hard when you know somebody very well and they're not themselves. You try your best to do with the situation what you can and talk to them, but she wasn't her, and she knew that. And she always asks me, she always says, baby, tell me everything. She had that New York Bronx accent. She cared so much about I'll talk about me. Like, it's my podcast. She supported me so much. And to receive that unconditional love, I truly feel like I'm the luckiest person in the world. Because there wasn't anything that I could do that she would get mad at me for or change the way she felt about me. She was so outwardly proud of me. She told everyone about me. She was always in theater growing up and in her adult age. And I think the fact that I do stand up was something that she was always so proud of. Tell me, where did you get that from? Where did you get that from? And I'm like, Grandma, you know I got some of this from you. She was so freaking proud. And I am so fortunate that I can look back on my time with her and just feel so happy. And it has been a minute since I have lost someone this close to me. I lost my grandpa 6 years ago. And I think when you have experiences of grief in these pocketed times of your life, it's very interesting to see how you cope with it. I remember when my grandpa passed, it was during COVID, and my main worry was my dad, but also my grandma. She just lost her husband of 60 plus years. And I could kind of put my attention towards that. And I could talk about how much I missed my grandpa with my grandma, who also missed him a lot. I could talk about how much I missed my grandpa with my dad, with my sister, with anyone. And losing my grandma, I'm going to continue to talk about how much I miss her with my sister, my dad, my cousins, my aunts and my uncles, but it feels like something's missing. Like my dad no longer having a parent is sad. Also, if you're listening to this and you're like, I want something upbeat, something to make me happy, I'm so sorry. How do we comfort others in times of grief when you're also experiencing it? It's very interesting and sensitive. I miss my grandma so much. I wish that I could just call her and tell her about my day. But to be able to move through grief at the age of 27, the way that I do, I'm very proud of myself because I'm not holding anything back. I'm not holding tears back. I'm not holding words back. I just ran into a friend from high school. She asked me how I was. I said, I'm going to record my podcast. And my grandma died yesterday. And I just started crying. I'm looking after myself in these 48 hours of what do I need? I'm going to journal. I'm looking at photos. I'm listening to voicemails. But I think navigating grief as an adult is something that we will have to get used to. We will have to build this toolbox of what works for us in these extreme times of vulnerability and loss. Because this is not the last time that something like this is going to happen. And that's not me being dismal or looking to a point in the future that has not even happened yet. That is me being realistic and also spending my time appreciating the people that I have in my life right now. because I have no regrets on how my relationship with my grandma netted out. We were so close. She loved me so much and I loved her so much. And that's all I can ask for. And when I cry, when I'm upset thinking about her, I'm not sad about the times that I missed or when I was annoyed with her. I'm sad about not having her to talk to and to hug. And I think it can be confusing when you're grieving someone who it was their time to go. It doesn't matter if it was their time to go. What matters is how you feel that they're gone. And I think that because it was their time to go, it makes it a bit easier to move through the motions. And I have something to think of when I'm very upset of, she is so happy where she is right now. And I find comfort in that. I feel like this is almost a beginner's guide to grief, where this is the best possible situation of how she could have gone. She was with it. She lived an amazing life. And she died. That is on paper the ideal way to go. So if that is something that, if that is the first thing that in my adult life that I'm experiencing with grief, I feel like that is the stepping stone of grief, because there's going to be tragedy and there's going to be heartache. And I think understanding what I need when I lose something that's a constant, that's what's important. I started thinking so much about heaven and spirit and the afterlife, because of course it exists. Is that something that people say to give themselves comfort? Is there proof? I think there's so much proof, it's insane. But it also gives comfort. I think that to know that she's in a better place is all I can ask for. And I started wondering, what does someone look like when they get to heaven? What are they wearing? What does their hair look like? Does it look like them in their prime? Does it look like them the way that they felt their best? Because sometimes when you're in your prime, you don't feel your best. I think that comes with age. I'll figure it out. And then I was thinking about, what do other people look like too? Like, if you're going to heaven, for example, does my grandpa look the way that he did when he died? Or does he look like when he was in his 50s? Does it depend on who sees who? And you could find a lot of beauty in just knowing that, at least for my situation, my grandma is with the love of her life and also with her parents. She lost her parents way too young. And that breaks my heart because parents are so special. And she's with them now. I think for today is not that deep, because we are getting so deep. It would be that crying in public is not that deep, because the notion of crying in public, it means that you have such intense feeling that you cannot wait until you get home. You need to release right then and right now. And that is so fair. And you need to honor that. I was crying in public last night. I went to Michael's and I framed a card that she wrote me. she never really wrote cards. She would put a fat check in it and then write, "Love, Grandma." And last year for my birthday, she wrote a simple card that meant so much to me that I had put it on my shelf for display. I'm not displaying a lot of cards. My mom, my sister, and my dad write me like 10-page cards for my birthdays. Those are in a vault. Like, those cannot be displayed. Her card was so simple and gorgeous, and I framed it and I put it with a red background because she loved red. And this sweatshirt, it reminds me of her. It wasn't hers. Not everything has to remind me of her. But she did love red, and I love red. It's spicy. I'm walking to Michael's last night, and I'm crying so hard on the street, walking to this beautiful Taylor Swift song called Marjorie. And it's about her losing her grandmother named Marjorie. And the song really, I've always felt connected to it, but I was sobbing. And it made me realize that as I was passing people either looked up at me or people didn't even look at me. People were just walking. And it was in that moment that I realized nobody knows what I'm going through. Nobody knows that I am having a really difficult day because I just lost somebody really close to me. No one knows that. And then I started thinking, and I don't know what these people passing me are going through either. I don't know if they just had a really hard day. I have no idea if they're hanging their head high because they have no other choice. I have no idea if they received bad news and they're on their way to fix it. If they're going to break up with someone, if they're going to celebrate a new job. We have no idea what everyone is going through that we pass because everybody is living their own life and everybody has something in their life that is causing them sadness, stress, perhaps anxiety that we will never know about. Maybe it's not constant. Maybe their sadness is fluctuating. There is no one that is happy having a perfect day 100% of the time. And you are passing these people having no idea what they are going through. And that is why it is so important to move with kindness and to smile at someone because you never know. Someone let me pet their dog last night. I was sobbing while petting their dog. They didn't ask anything. Am I going to be the topic of their dinner story? Oh my gosh, this hysterical girl came and passed me and pet my dog. I hope she's doing okay. Right? You have no idea. It was a big moment of realization because I always think that when I'm walking or when I'm on the subway and maybe someone's doing something with whether it's their body, they're not moved in all the way, or they're turned around or whatever it may be. You have no idea what they are going through and what they do go through. And what I can control is how I treat others. This is something that I've definitely talked about before on Not That Deep, but I am usually the one that is having the okay day and looking at other people and just doing what I can to make them smile or laugh. It's for the first time in a while that I was the one bawling my eyes out And I was like, nobody knows what just happened. It was interesting. Think about that. When was the last time that you were going through something and you questioned, like, does anyone know what's going on with me? And that's why I feel communicating what's going on with you is so important. Not to strangers necessarily, unless you want to. You crazy girl. Like, being open is so important. Or being closed off, if that's what you want, have at it. You need to understand what works for you and how do you best move when you're not having an amazing day. I just took a super long pause because I was feeling overwhelmed. I wanted to read something that a friend had written to me. And on that topic, I wanted to just share gratitude of how grateful I am for the amazing people in my life that can share such wisdom and empathy and love during any time, because that is invaluable. Wait, that is valuable? No, invaluable. I don't know, guys. It's been a long morning. It's literally not even 11 a.m. I am someone that when something happens in my life, I tell everyone. Good or bad, I am a big fan of the mass message. But a mass message sent individually. And typically I will say, I will write, this is a mass message, and then I'll write the mass message. But I'm sending it to specific people. So it's like more personalized than that. But I had sent a paragraph just letting my friends know that my grandma passed away. And I want to read what one of my friends said, who has had a lot of experience with loss and grief. She said, take time to grieve, to feel how sad you are. Ultimately, that is just a reflection of how impactful she was and will continue to be on you. That love and powerful presence remains with you. Her stories are her legacy. I cannot wait to hear some of them. I love you so much. Go easy on yourself this weekend. Like, having such compassionate and emotionally intelligent friends is the best thing in the world. Because that message brought me so much comfort and stability. And what truth that is I am feeling so sad because of how impactful her life and her presence was on me. And that is okay. And I will continue to journal and listen to voicemails and look at photos and remember with so much happiness of how sick it was that I had this awesome woman in my life, that I got to be so loved by her. Something else that I thought that friends that have been through similar situations I thought that it was very comforting to talk to them because a few of my friends were very close with their grandmas who had passed away. And feeling validation of just because she was old and she lived a good life does not mean that you don't get to be sad. My grief is valid, and move with it. Do what feels good. And I'm at a point in my life that a lot of friends have experienced various types of loss, but I am so grateful to those that have also lost a grandma that they're very close with, and in this moment are giving me that it's okay. And you're going to be okay. And it's going to be sad, but you're going to be okay. And I know I'm going to be okay because at the end of the day, I know what I need to do. But, and this sounds so depressing, like I am going to lose so many more people in my life. But I just need to find and appreciate. I need to appreciate everyone that I have when I have them. And I do that. Gonna continue to cry in public. And I think that this episode was for me. Most episodes are for me. That's something I've realized is I am doing this podcast for myself. Because the second I'm not doing it for me, I'm not in it 100%. If I'm just doing this to grow an audience or I don't know. If I'm doing this for other people, it's not going to be long lasting. I'm doing this for me. This episode, I think it was very obvious. I had an hour of therapy yesterday. I think it was very obvious that that was for me. And this is for me because it feels good to be able to talk and to feel safe in what I feel and my emotions. And maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after that, if I run into someone and tell them that my grandma died, I won't cry. Like, it's sad. And that's okay. I am going to continue to just be there for my friends, for my family, for my sister, for my dad during this time. And remember her with the biggest smile on my face. And just be okay with being sad for a little bit. I feel like this is reminding me of when like YouTubers would be like, we broke up, and then they would post a video of them crying. This would be a great audio only episode, but we want video. Thank you guys so much for listening. This was crazy. Thank you guys so much for listening. I am so appreciative of you. And please take care of yourself, but also smile at strangers today because you never know what they're going through. And have an amazing, amazing day, week, month. And thank you for joining me on Not That Deep.